Hello guys, this is your friend Naruto Audio Fanfics and we are back with a new fanfic. Which is What If Naruto x Ino x Hinata x Hanabi, A Tale of Two Sisters Part 2. And if you enjoy this fanfic then please press the like button and subscribe to my channel for more fanfic like this. And now let's start the fanfic. Oh, I really didn't notice. But I'm glad that he is okay. Hinata smiled. When they finally arrived at home did Hanabi motion for her to follow and they headed straight at Hanabi's room. Once inside sat Hinata down on a chair while Hanabi walked up and down her room in thought. You see, sis, I'm really disappointed. How often have I told you to not wear that jacket? It's a step back to your shy self, if you hide yourself behind that jacket. Hinata looked at the ground, but could feel that Hanabi was concerned about her. And really disappointed. Quite often, Hanabi. Hinata answered quietly. Hanabi sighed before nodding slowly. She touched her lower lip in thought and looked at her sister, thinking about what to do. I guess I should scold you again, but, since that doesn't seem to help, she walked over to where she hid the books she got from Naruto 2 years ago, grabbing the one about punishments and sat down on her bed, flipping through the first pages. She looked into the book from time to time over the last 2 years. That had 2 reasons. One was that she was just curious, reading over the possible punishments again and again. She still was disgusted by the extreme ones written down in the second half of the book, but growing up got she more and more comfortable with the minor ones in the first half. The second reason was that Hinata wasn't improving too quick to win their second bet, meaning she wouldn't be released from being her slave too soon. So she needed to be prepared, just in case her sister would need something more than a scolding, like today. She found the page she was looking for and read it over, while Hinata wasn't too comfortable right now. I hope Hanabi won't be doing anything too bad to me. We are family, but I know I disobeyed her by wearing the jacket over and over again. Hinata sighed and waited for Hanabi to speak up. Finishing the sight did she motion for Hinata to come over to the bed and Hinata followed, standing next to Hanabi. See, sis, I really don't want to do that, but, well, we just talked about it. I told you over and over again to not wear that jacket but you are still wearing it when going outside. All family connections aside is our relationship different than others, so, she sighed and pulled Hinata down to her, laying her across her lap. Hinata was surprised by that action and didn't reacted. I'm sorry, sis, Hanabi whispered before bringing her hand down on Hinata's. It didn't hurt much, considering she was wearing all her clothes, but she was totally shocked by that action of her younger sister. Hanabi continued to spank her a bit more till she reached 10 hits before laying her hand flat on the spot she just hit. I want you to think about what happened today, sis. What you did and what I had to do because of you. Don't disappoint me again, okay? Hinata got slowly up and nodded, still shocked from the action, before sitting down next to Hanabi on the bed. You can stay here to think or go back to your room. I don't mind. I'm going out again, sis. Alone. Hinata nodded again while watching her sister leave, staying on the spot of the bed. She not only had to think about today, but also about the last 2 years and the future that will come. Early evening in the village. Hanabi was sitting on a bench near the park, thinking about what had happened today as well, just like she told Hinata to do. I really spanked her. I know I had the right to do that, but, she's still my sister, what was I thinking? Her mind was really troubled by her actions and she was unsure how she should handle this situation, or if she could look her sister in the eyes again after that. She felt guilty and she knew that this feeling was legit. While she was thinking about it did she hear shouts and screams that seemed to get in her direction. When looking up did she see the source for it. Naruto was running down the street and was followed by some angered shinobi, most likely Chunin. When he spotted her, did he change direction, running down the street she was sitting at, and tossed her something small in her lap while he was passing by. She waited till the pursuers had passed her as well before picking up the small thing. Looked like an earpiece of a radio. Placing it in her ear, did she hear Naruto's voice. Hey, Hanabi-chan. Where's your sister? You are rarely out alone and, arg, they are serious this time. Mind if you could help me out here? I'm having trouble to get away this time. Hanabi shook her head to get out of her thoughts, realizing what Naruto just asked her. She got comfortable on the bench and closed her eyes, activating her Byakugan and keeping her eyes closed. She started to whisper. For an onlooker, would it seem like she was sleep-talking or something? One group is coming at you right in your front. They even put an ambush to the left. Turn right at the next crossing. Naruto was following Hanabi's directions, trying to get away. You see, I had an argument with Hinata after academy, and I don't know. I might have done something bad to her. Next crossing left. Hanabi was trying to get Naruto's opinion on the matter that troubled her without giving him too much information, while still watching his surroundings and giving him directions. Naruto turned left at the next crossing. Don't worry, Hanabi-chan. You got along well all the time. She will surely forgive you. You are so close to your sister, I even envy that. Wish I had siblings, or a family. But still, I wasn't nice to her today. I fear she might hate me now. Hanabi sighed before being at full attention. They are waiting at the next crossing and the way you ran is closed as well. Into the next alley on the right side. Inside, turn left, right, then double left and right again to get out without hitting a dead end. Thanks for the warning. I would have ran into them if it weren't for you. But I will repeat myself, whatever you did, she will forgive you, I'm sure of that. Naruto was running through the alley, following Hanabi's direction, and he was totally thankful that she guided him right now. I might have hit her. Her voice got quieter from word to word and Naruto could hear her doubts about what she did, but couldn't really place it. Once you are out, turn right in the next alley on the left. You hit her. That happens all the time during sparring. Nothing to worry about, believe it. Naruto left the alley he was currently running through and quickly crossed the street to disappear into the next alley. It wasn't during a spar. Hanabi whispered, her voice barely noticeable anymore. Seems like you got away. I'm not seeing anyone on your tail anymore. Hanabi deactivated her Byakugan, kept her eyes close, still thinking about what she did to Hinata. Would she really forgive her? See, girl, here you are wrong. A third voice entered the conversation, startling both Hanabi and Naruto, before Naruto let out a muffled noise and the voice spoke again. I'm not sure who you are, girl, but it seems like you know where the boy and I are currently, considering you just guided him to get away. So you better get over here now. Oh. Okay. Hanabi sighed and got up from the bench, heading toward the alley she guided Naruto through. I'm sure there was no one around him anymore. I haven't seen anyone. He should have been safe. Now we are both in trouble, I guess. Hanabi sighed again, entering the alley. There stood a shinobi with white spiky hair and a mask covering half of his face, and his headband was lowered to cover one of his eyes. He held Naruto in front of him, having a hand over his mouth that he wouldn't scream. Something Naruto wouldn't do anyway, since nobody would care to help him. That much he learned during the years. Now that's a surprise. You are a Hyuga. No wonder you were able to guide him via radio. However, you made one major mistake. Oh, if you don't try to flee, will I let go of you now? He smiled down at Naruto, who just nodded. He was used to being beaten all the time, so he thankfully accepted that offer. Even so, he was caught, wasn't he beaten yet, so anything was fine to go along with that. And what mistake was that? Naruto asked, stretching his body a little after being held tightly. All I did was snatching the two radio earpieces and telling the shinobi that their training wasn't enough to catch me. I don't see any mistake in that. Hanabi just stood at the side, listening, waiting to be addressed, waiting for her judgment. Well, your mistake was to only take two of them. It's common that four of them are put together on the same frequency that a normal team of four can communicate over greater distances. So once I heard what you did, as all I had to do get one of the remaining earpieces and listen on your conversation. As you can see, I caught you by that. He white-haired shinobi was still smiling. Naruto was unsure what he should think about him. It was Hanabi speaking next, looking shocked. So, you heard what I told him. She blushed and tried to hide her face. You. And I do recognize you, Hanabi Hyuga. Uruka told me about your match at the academy. Really impressive. But what was that about hitting your older sister? I couldn't exactly place that information. He was still smiling, sending a shiver down Hanabi's spine. What was wrong with this guy? I don't really want to talk about that. I can't. Hanabi shook her head. So I shouldn't tell Hiyashi either. Not sure if I can, after what you just did by helping this little prankster over here. Hanabi was shocked by that. If her father would knew. Hey, she had nothing to do with it. Leave her alone, Naruto shouted, sending an angry glare in the direction of their captor. He was ready to protect his friend, no matter what. The man just smiled at that declaration. Well, I honestly just wanted to see how the prankster is like and who his friend might be, that's really all. And don't worry girl, Hinata will forgive you. She is just a kind-hearted nature. No matter what you did. Anyway, I got to get going. We will meet again, that I'm sure about. He gave them a small wave before pulling out a book and walking away, reading. What? A strange guy. Hey, Hanabi-chan, you alright? Common, cheer up. Everything ended fine and I'm sure Hinata will forgive you. Naruto pulled Hanabi into a hug who slowly got out of her shock. I hope you are right, Naruto. I really do, she breathed deeply, calming down. Well, thanks for listening to me. I should go home now. See you tomorrow at class. She gave him a wave and headed home while Naruto went in the direction of his apartment. Both of them were not aware that the white-haired shinobi was still watching them. So that is Naruto Uzumaki, the prankster king of Konoha. And he is at least friends with the younger Hyuga. That might get interesting. I'm looking forward to their improvements. He mumbled to himself before placing his nose back inside his book. Hinata's room late at evening. Hinata was sitting at her desk, reading a book. Some hours had already passed since what happened between her and her sister and she took the time to think about it, just like Hanabi told her to do. She was mainly shocked when her sister gave her the spanking. It hadn't hurt at all, but it was a shock either way. She had never guessed that her sister would do this to her. On the other side is she her sister's slave since 2 years. It was her right to do this because she disobeyed many times by wearing the jacket even so she was told not to do so. I'm not improving fast enough. I'm not even close to being able to win against Hanabi. From what she showed today is it more like I'm getting farther away from catching up to her. I maybe need to accept that whole situation. I need to accept that I became a slave. But, she got out of her thoughts when she heard a knock on her door. Come in, it's open, she said turning to watch the door open, seeing Hanabi enter her room. The girl looked kinda distressed and Hinata walked over to her to give her a hug. I'm sorry sis, for today I mean. Hanabi whispered. I shouldn't have done that to you. I don't know what I was thinking. Can you forgive me? She looked her older sister in the eyes, tears forming in her own. Of course, Hanabi. You did nothing wrong. I thought about today, Just like you told me. And you were right to do so. I should have listened to you. I should have obeyed your order to not wear the jacket. It's all my fault. Hinata held Hanabi close to her, gently stroking her back. And I realize that I'm not even close to your level. I'm far away of winning my freedom back, so. Hanabi pulled herself back a bit, looking at her sister with slight surprise in her eyes. Sis, do you mean? She can't be saying what I'm thinking she is going to say. There's just no way. Hinata nodded. From now on I'm going to accept every order I get from you. Every punishment you see fit if I disobey. I'm accepting being your slave. It's 2 years already, but you went easy on me. Your rules were nothing hard and I appreciate that, I really do. I also hope that we will still be sisters. Just like we used to be. We always got along so well. But I now fully understand the situation I got myself into with my bet and I will take my responsibility on that. Hanabi was shocked and didn't know what to say. Not only that her sister was not stuttering a single time during that announcement, she wasn't even blushing. She must have thought about that quite intense and made up her mind. Okay sis, I understand. I will take care of you. I love you, sis. I love you too, Hanabi. They hugged each other. No big jacket tomorrow. Hanabi smiled. I understand. No jacket tomorrow. Hinata smiled back at Hanabi. Good night. Good night, sis. Hanabi left her sister's room, heading toward her own. What both didn't know was that just till half a minute ago a boy stood at the door and listened into their conversation. He actually wanted to apologize to his cousin about his behavior in the morning but stopped when he heard the sisters talking. Neji wasn't sure what to do with these information he just heard. Naruto was on his way to the academy. He was still upset that he was caught after his prank the day before, even so he came away without any sort of punishment. That white-haired Jonin sure was some strange fellow. Smart enough to figure out the one mistake he made, of which he didn't know he made it in the first place. Then by that mistake catching him, forcing Hanabi to get there as well. The part he was most upset about was the fact that he also caught Hanabi helping him. And then threatening her to tell her father and getting her in trouble. Naruto cared about his friends and getting one of them into trouble was the last thing he wanted. And what was Hanabi talking about? She hit her sister and feared she would be hated now. He had to find out what was up with her today. He was stopped on his way however by a gang of boys he quickly recognized as being in his class. When he looked them over did he recognize them from somewhere else too. They were the boys who were bullying the young Hinata 4 years ago when he stepped in to save her, when she, according to her younger sister, fell for him. Not that he would have talked to Hinata about that. He knew her shyness quite good and wanted her to bring it up by herself. But right now had he to deal with this group. Hey, you are Naruto, right? One of the boys started speaking. See, we were talking and we decided that you can become our friend if you do something for us. Or, more precisely, if you succeed in a little test of bravery. Naruto was at alert. These boys never talked to him after the situation 4 years ago and he was sure he saw angry glances at him during class on the first day. However, he hadn't much friends beside the Hyuga sisters and Ino, so it would be nice to have a few more. What kind of test do you have in mind? He asked curious. There was a small skirmish in the northern forest yesterday. Some enemy shinobi tried to sneak into the village but were stopped by a patrol. All you have to do is go there and find an item that belonged to the enemy shinobi and we will take you into our gang. You will become our friend and can hang out with us. Really? Great. I'll get you an item, believe it. Naruto was turning on the spot and sprinted in the direction of the northern forest. While he doesn't really like these boys for what they did to Hinata was he more thrilled of gaining a few new friends. Why have you done that? We don't want him as friend. Another boy asked the leader, slightly annoyed by what was just talked. My dad was on that patrol who fought the enemy shinobi. He told me that they are most likely still around. And since he was chasing Naruto through the village yesterday after another of his pranks, is this now payback? If we are lucky, will he get himself killed in the forest and the whole village will be happy. Nobody likes him anyway. The leader just grinned. That's why you are our boss. That's brilliant. Yet another of the boys said. Just remember, if anyone is asking, we don't know where he is. We never saw him today. The leader laughed while the group headed towards the academy. Hyuga compound. The mood between the two sisters was back to normal this morning, after their discussion the last evening. They had breakfast together and spoke about random things, like they always did. Once they left home, was Hinata doing what she promised her sister. She let her jacket at home. She was now wearing a simple black shirt and looked around a bit bashfully once they reached the outside. Hanabi tried to cheer her up. Hey sis, there is really no reason to be embarrassed. You look beautiful, and if others are looking, do they realize that as well? And as long as you don't try to hide, will you not get too much attention anyway? So really nothing to worry. She smiled at her older sister, who tried to stay calm. It's just, well, have you seen the other girls in our class? I'm far more developed than them, and that makes me feel uneasy. Hinata tried to argue, but got stopped by her sister. Don't be like that. Just don't think about it and everything will be fine, sis. There is really nothing to worry abo, huh? Is that Naruto? Hanabi got distracted while talking, seeing a blonde boy running down the street to the northern part of the village. That isn't the direction of the academy. And I don't think he'll prank again already, after he was caught yesterday. Putting her finger on her lower lip, did she think about what happened the last day and why Naruto would be heading north? Naruto-kun got caught. I hope nothing too bad happened. Hinata was worried about her crush. Nah, everything turned out okay. Some weird Jonin caught him but didn't do anything to him. I'll tell you about it later. Let's follow him for now. Common sis. Hanabi was already running in the same direction Naruto headed for, before Hinata was following her. They catched up to Naruto around 10 minutes later, when he was standing in front of the northern forest, unsure what to do now. They casually approached him and Hanabi started talking. Hey Naruto, what are you doing out here? The academy is in the other direction. She giggled slightly. Naruto turned around, seeing that the two sisters had followed him. Hanabi-chan, Hinata-chan, why are you here? You should be in the academy already. A part of him was glad that his two friends were there with him, another part wished for them to be somewhere else, cause he don't want to get his friends into trouble again. We saw you running north and thought something was wrong, so we followed. Hinata said quietly. You don't needed to be a genius to see that she was totally worried about Naruto, and he appreciated that. You see, I was on my way to the academy when I was stopped by these boys of our class. You know, the gang that is always hanging around each other. They said I could become their friend if I would pass a test of bravery for them. That's why I'm here. A test of bravery? What kind of test? Hanabi tilted her head to the side, watching Naruto curious. Beside, you never talked to them before at all. Sounds fishy to me, if I'm honest. Naruto nodded slightly. Yeah, I know. But I would like some new friends, so, anyway, they said there was a skirmish inside the forest yesterday. I shall get them an item that belongs to the enemy shinobi and they'll accept me as a friend. He was grinning, confident that he would find something. But, what if they are still around? It was the worried Hinata again, finding the idea of visiting a battlefield pretty bad. Then we run back home, of course. Plus, with us around, will we able to spot shinobi from a great distance, sis? After all, Our eyes are awesome. Hanabi giggled. Okay, Naruto. Any idea where that battlefield might be? The forest is not the smallest. Yeah, it shall have been near the village. I've an idea where it should be around. Will us take not more than 5 minutes to reach it. But you sure you will come along? It was Naruto's turn to be worried about the sisters. Sure. You are our friend so we can help you search. And with our eyes can we even provide some safety. No reason why we shouldn't tag along. And Hinata isn't having a choice here, right sis? Hanabi grinned at a slightly blushing Hinata who simply nodded. Naruto raised an eyebrow at that declaration. Okay. Seriously, what's up between you two? I'm wondering about that for 2 years now and you still haven't told me. He was still curious about the whole situation, starting with the books about slavery and the way the sisters sometimes talk to each other, but they never told him at all. Sorry, but that's a secret. Hanabi stuck her tongue out at Naruto. Anyway, are we going now? She pushed both Naruto and Hinata forward into the forest. Naruto simply sighed while Hinata started shivering slightly. She had a bad feeling about this. At the academy, Ino was sitting next to her best friend, the pink-haired girl Sakura Haruno, who just like everyone else recently started in the academy. It was still time before class would start, so they talked about different things. Say, Ino, I realized that you spent much time with the two Hyuga sisters lately. Are you trying to exchange me as your best friend? Sakura asked, staring into Ino's eyes. Huh, why do you think that? You know that Hanabi-chan dropped by at the flower shop regularly and then one day introduced me to Hinata-chan. There is nothing wrong with making new friends, you know. Ino looked into Sakura's emerald green eyes, slightly amused by her best friend. She is so jealous that I'm spending time with other girls than her. Never thought I would see that happen. She giggled to herself. That got Sakura slightly upset. What? You think I'm unable to make new friends myself? And what is it with you and that Naruto? I saw you hanging out with this troublemaker a few times. Sasuke is way cooler than that untalented boy. Ino blinked a few times at that statement. Untalented? You really think that? I mean, sure, he's hated by the whole village for some unknown reason and always pranking them. But you rarely hear that he is being caught. I wouldn't call that untalented, when he is able to outrun and get away from Chunin and partially Jonin chasing him. And he's much more open than Sasuke. Common forehead, Sasuke barely even speaks any word. I told you to stop calling me that, Ino pig. And just look at Sasuke, he's just cool. And way mature than Naruto. Her eyes drifted over to where Sasuke sat at his table, watching out of the window, like he always does. Well, yeah, whatever. Anyway, speaking of Naruto and the Hyugas, they aren't here yet. I'm not surprised that Naruto isn't here but Hanabi-chan and Hinata-chan. They are always on time. I really wonder. Ino changed the topic cause she knew that Sakura would just continue to talk about Sasuke if not stopped. And she was really worried that her friends weren't at class yet. I don't know, I haven't seen them today. And I don't really care either. If they don't want to attend class is that none of my problems. Sakura pouted for being cut off from the Sasuke topic. But it was always like that with Ino, so she was okay with it, knowing her best friend since they were little. When Iruka entered the classroom did Ino walk over to her own seat and sat down, looking at the two empty seats next to her. She was really worried that both sisters weren't at class. Iruka watched around the class realizing that there were 3 empty seats today. Okay. I kinda expected from Naruto to be not around. I heard he got caught after a prank yesterday. He really is a troublemaker. But the two Hyuga sisters aren't here either. That's surprising. He thought before addressing the class. Good morning everyone. Before we start today, Ino. You are friends with both Hanabi and Hinata, right? Do you know where both of them are? Ino shook her head. No, Iruka-sensei. I'm wondering about their whereabouts the same as you. It's so not like them to not be on time. I honestly am a bit worried. I understand. That really sounds worrisome. Does anybody know something about the whereabouts of Naruto? Haven't seen him today. The leader of the gang of boys said, grinning, knowing quite well that he sent Naruto somewhere he most likely will die today. Troublesome. Shikamaru was mumbling into his arms, his head resting atop of them on his desk, like the previous day. At least wasn't he sleeping this time. Naruto and the Hyuga girls are friends. So if all three of them aren't here, will they be most likely together, wherever they may be? I hope Naruto is no bad influence for the girls. I wouldn't want to explain to Hiyashi why his daughters became troublemakers themselves. Iruka thought to himself before speaking. So, Naruto, Hanabi and Hinata are missing today. They are most likely together and none has any idea where they might be. Now that's a perfect second day in school. Iruka sighed and started his class. Hey, you think we should tell him? If the girls are there as well, I don't know, they are cute and all, one of the boys of the gang was whispering to his leader. Nah, if they are stupid enough to hang out with the child nobody likes, is it fine if they die as well? The leader still grinned while answering. Somewhere inside the northern forest. Wow, that place was harder to find than I thought. Look at that, everywhere are blood stains and shattered equipment. So that's how a battlefield looks like, huh? Naruto looked around, both girls standing behind him. Seems that way. It was Hanabi talking, her voice a bit shaky, thinking about how many might have died here. Can you spot anything foreign? Looks all like Konoha stuff to me on first sight. Hard to tell, we might need to search a bit around to find something. How are we going to work on it? Naruto asked, kinda hyped being out here where a skirmish happened not even 24 hours ago. We don't know if there are still shinobi around here. Naruto, you start searching the normal way. Hinata, you will help him with your Byakugan. I'll check the surroundings for any other person using my Byakugan. The faster we are done here the better. Hanabi gave the orders and all of them started right on their task. She may be young, but there were some reasons why she already started academy with her age. Naruto was searching through the remains that lay scattered around the area, but couldn't find anything that wasn't made in Konoha so far. Hinata looked around the trees and up in the branches with her Byakugan, searching for anything out of place while Hanabi was scanning the surrounding area for any approaching danger. I think there is something up in the bird's nest on this branch. Hinata said quietly while pointing up a large tree. I'm not totally sure, but it kinda looks like a kunai, but it's shaped a way I haven't seen before. Alright, Naruto shouted excited and started to climb up the tree right away. While he tried to get up there and with Hanabi still busy checking the surroundings, walked Hinata over to some things laying next to another tree and crouched down to collect one piece and quickly hide it in her pocket. If she had to come out here, did she wanted to at least get a souvenir of this adventure? That seemed quite logical to her, that a souvenir of each adventure would be something good for her shy nature. While they were busy with their tasks, did three shinobi some distance away watch the three children searching the battlefield. All of them were completely masked except for their eyes, hiding quite good all features of their bodies and faces. What are these children doing there? Scavenging the battlefield? Or are they searching for what we are looking for? The first of the shinobi spoke, the voice kinda deep but definitely female. I don't think that children would have any knowledge about it. I guess they are simply scavenging after hearing what happened here. The second shinobi answered, the voice again female. Looking over to the third shinobi, did the second frown. Seriously? Common, put your bingo book away. They are children, there won't be any bounties on them. The third shinobi looked up with a slight smile on the lips and addressed the second, the voice again clearly female. Well, and here you are wrong. Look at the girls. Or more specific at their eyes. Are they familiar to you? Well, they are to me. The girls must be from the Konoha Hyuga clan. And, turning the book around that the other two shinobi could get a look on the open page. Kumo does have a running bounty for any living member of the Hyuga clan. And there are two girls, not even genin yet. They won't be able to fight back if you ask me. Easy earned money. All three shinobi grinned at the thought. Maybe the day wouldn't be too bad, after their friends lost the skirmish the day before. They didn't really cared what might happen to these girls. With this young age will they most likely be brainwashed and used for breeding that Kumo can earn their Kekkei Genkei, but they didn't care for that. The money was way more interesting to them. Naruto was nearly reaching the branch with the bird's nest on it and Hinata watched him worried, when Hanabi quietly spoke up. Don't panic. Grab what you are looking for and then be ready to run back to the village. There are three shinobi watching us from some distance and they aren't from our village. I don't want to find out what they are up to. Maybe they want to retrieve something they lost here yesterday or maybe they want to avenge their comrades or whatever. But we should get away here quickly. Hinata gulped and nodded slightly and Naruto, reaching the bird's nest, nodded as well. He picked up the strangely shaped kunai and put it away, before suddenly jumping down the tree and as soon as he landed did all three of them turn around and started running back to the village. So much for the bounty. Did they see us? The third shinobi mumbled, a bit disappointed that the kids were running away. I don't think that they spotted us. It is most unlikely, they are kids after all. But I wonder why they were running away all of a sudden, the second shinobi added. Well, would have been quite some money we would have gotten for the two girls. Too bad. Anyway, now we can search for what we came here for, right? The third shinobi said, getting ready to approach the battlefield. Yeah, about that. The first shinobi was now talking. I think I saw that the boy picked up what we came here for. What? The third shinobi gasped in shock. And you are telling us now after they already had some time to run away while we were talking. Hurry up and follow them. All three of them started to chase down the kids, jumping from branch to branch between the trees while the kids were running on the ground of the forest. Shit. They are following us and they are fast. Won't be long before they catch up to us. Hanabi was cursing, still checking their surroundings and the area behind them with her Byakugan, seeing that the three shinobis after talking started to chase them. We need a plan and we need it quick. Hey, Naruto, do you still have the earpiece from yesterday? Hanabi ran closer to Naruto, hoping he would still have what he snatched the day before. Huh, yeah, I do. Why? He looked at her a bit confused while avoiding some bushes on his way. Don't ask, just gimme. It's the best plan I can think of now. She said slightly upset by his hesitation and grabbed the earpiece as soon as he pulled it out and placed it in her ear. Oh shit, dodge. There are shuriken flying our way. She shouted before jumping behind a tree and the other two followed, avoiding the attacks. Please let it work, Hanabi quietly said while all three of them went back to running. Hey, spooky white hair guy, can you hear me? Mr. One Eye, Cyclops, please, please, please let it work, please hear me. Hey, bookworm, common, answer me. Hanabi activated the earpiece, hoping that the guy who catched them the day before would still have the one he used to listen into their conversation. The radio was silent for quite some time and she repeated calling into it, fearing that they might be done for. After another time of silence and another dodge to flying shuriken did the radio however activate. Spooky white hair guy, that's a new one. Anyway, I already catched you yesterday girl and you have nothing better to do than using the same radio earpiece again. No time for that, Hanabi shouted, being out of breath already. Listen, we need your help quickly. We are chased by some enemy shinobi and, a scream from Hinata could be heard. Oh shit, sis. You okay? Common, keep running. It's just a scratch, really. Hinata got slightly hit by a shuriken in her flank, a thin cut in her shirt which slowly changed to red. Naruto went to her side to support her while they continued to run. Where are you? And why? Details. The voice of the white-haired guy changed to death serious, figuring that Hanabi wasn't trying to prank him at all. Northern Forest and on our way back to the village. Here chased by 3 unknown shinobi and they try to kill us here. Please help us. Hanabi shouted again. They are faster as well and, shit. Cover. All 3 of them barely made it away from the fire-style jutsu that got thrown at them. We won't make it, she quietly said and sighed, before picking up the run again. Back in the village was the white-haired Jonin already on his way to the northern forest with haste, while he sent a clone of his into the academy, to inform the responsible teacher that 3 of his students were in a deadly situation. Hang in there, kids, I'll be right there. Inside the academy, Iruka was talking about some basic things about chakra at the moment. It wasn't really interesting, and even if it were, Ino was way too distracted to pay any attention. Hanabi, Hinata, where are you? I'm totally worried, she thought to herself, when she got pulled out of her thoughts by a sudden commotion inside the classroom. A white-haired Jonin with a mask covering his face and his headband pulled down over his left eye appeared basically out of nowhere and gave a slightly wave. Yo! He greeted Iruka, who was shocked to see his friend in his classroom. Kakashi, what are you doing here? Can't you see I'm busy teaching right now? Iruka wasn't happy of being interrupted, even so he guessed that something must be up if Kakashi took the time to get here in the first place. Well, you see. Kakashi scratched the back of his head. It might be the case that 3 of your students are currently hunted by enemy shinobi and might not make it back in time or be rescued. The class fell silent by this information, most of them shocked. Though some boys were slightly grinning by this information. Wait, what? Enemy shinobi? But why? It was Ino to shout out. There are only 3 missing today. That means that Hanabi, Hinata and Naruto are in trouble. And you aren't going to help them. She is right. Thanks for telling me, but I need to hurry now. Where are they, Kakashi? And how did you know? Iruka felt uneasy and wanted to help his students right away. Common, relax Iruka. I'm already on my way to help them, but I don't know if I'll be in time. The little Hyuga girl contacted me some moments ago and I went right away. Just thought I would inform you. So, the clone prepared to disperse, but was stopped. Stop right there. What do you mean with she contacted you? How? And why do my students know you anyway? Iruka wanted answers. He might not be needed to save them, but then he at least wanted informations on the situation. By using a radio earpiece. Oh, right, you don't know. I caught the little Hyuga and Naruto yesterday after they pranked some chunin. They snatched 2 earpieces and I got the remaining ones to chase them down. I just happened to still have them with me and was able to hear her call for help. So, if that's all, I guess my real me needs my chakra back. The clone prepared to disperse again, but was stopped, again. You will rescue them, right? Ino spoke again, this time close to tears. I don't want to lose my friends. Kakashi sighed and turned to Ino. Listen girl, the world is dangerous and life can be short. It's sad, but we can't change that. I am trying to rescue them, but I can't promise anything. See ya. The clone waved and finally dispersed, leaving a now crying Ino and a mostly shocked class behind. So troublesome, could be heard from Shikamaru. I wonder why they are hunted by enemy shinobi in the first place. They aren't stupid enough to just walk somewhere dangerous by themselves. Yeah, true enough. I really wonder what happened. Uruka added, missing the grin of the leader of the boy gang while some members looked distressed. They didn't want the two girls to die as well. Northern Forest, somewhere between the battlefield and Konoha. The three shinobi were currently going through some hand signs, all of them identical. They were planning the final attack to get rid of these kids and to get what they came for, even if that meant killing the girls and with that losing the bounties. Maybe they might get a partial reward for their bodies. Naruto and Hinata were supporting each other, both having some cuts from all the shuriken while Hanabi was biting her lips and holding her right arm where she got slightly hit by one of the fire jutsus thrown their way. All three weren't in any good condition at all and easy targets for the oncoming attack. Finishing their hand signs did all three shinobi shout out, fire style, giant salamander, and a huge wave of flames erupted from all three of them, targeting straight for the kids. They still tried to run but knew they would be done for. I'm sorry, girls. I really am, it's my fault you are with me. Naruto spoke up, apologizing during their last moments. Kinda funny, the villagers tried so often during my life and these foreign shinobi will get the kill now. And it's my fault Hinata is around. Sorry sis. Hanabi mumbled, feeling guilty just as Naruto. It's okay. I don't regret it, Hanabi. I never will, promise. Hinata said smiling slightly, knowing that's the last thing her sister will see, so give her a good image. Just a second before the flames could consume them however raised an earthen wall between them and the attack, saving them at the last moment. Yo. Kakashi waved to them. Seems like I made it in time. Run to the village, I'll handle this here. And then we need to talk about it. All three nodded and ran away, while the earthen wall lowered itself back into the ground, Kakashi now facing the three slightly upset shinobi. How dare you interfere here? We were so close, the first of them spoke, totally annoyed. How dare I interfere? How about you were attacking children from my village? And now you are done for. He went through some hand signs with lightning speed creating an electric charge in his right hand. I have an idea who you might be and that means you are dead now. Just like your friends from yesterday. Chidori. Kakashi charged at the three and jumped from one to another, hitting all three of them without any trouble. They didn't even had time to defend themselves against the speed of the Konoha Jonin and everything was over within a few seconds. I'll send a team to clean up. Now back to the kids. He stretched slightly before following the children back to the village. At the hospital, Hanabi, Hinata and Naruto were currently treated at the hospital, when Kakashi entered the room together with Iruka, who left his class when he heard that his students got rescued in time but got injured. Naruto and Hanabi looked to the ground when they saw both enter and Hinata became suddenly nervous, fearing the worst. I'm glad that all of you are safe, but why were you out there at all? Children your age aren't supposed to be out in the forest, especially when there was a skirmish just a day ago. That was plain stupid and you could be dead by now. Nobody knew you were out there and if you hadn't been lucky with your radio earpiece who knows when we might have found you at all. Iruka was upset about his students' foolish act. Relieved that they are safe now, but still upset. Naruto blinked his eyes a few times. I'm sorry that I endangered the girls, but sensei, it's not true that nobody knew. The boy gang of our class said I could join them if I would find a foreign object from the battlefield of the skirmish. That's why I went there in the first place. Hanabi nodded. And we saw him walking towards the forest and followed him. Once he told us what he wanted to do, did we decide to help him. We thought it would be a good idea assisting him with our eyes. When I saw the shinobi nearby, did we turn and run away back to the village? Iruka was speechless. Wait a moment. Hanabi's insight on the situation wasn't that bad. She kinda expected someone to still be out there and search the area with her Byakugan. A smart girl indeed. But that part about the boy gang, did they try to kill Naruto? They haven't said a word about his whereabouts, so much work is coming my way. So, to get this straight, you were searching for an object from the foreign shinobi that fought in the skirmish last day to pass a stupid test, and when you found out you weren't alone, did you turn and flee? Was that all that happened? Kakashi asked, putting the information together. Well, you see. Naruto scratched the back of his head. I actually found this strange kunai and put it away, right before fleeing. He pulled out the kunai and handed it to Kakashi, who started to inspect it. His one eye turned wide when he realized what he held in his hand. Around the shaft of the kunai was a piece of paper containing critical informations about the village. Anbu, come in, he said, before a female shinobi with purple hair and a cat mask appeared beside him, just a second later. Ah, cat, it's you. I need you to bring this to Hokage-sama. Seems like the enemy shinobi managed to sneak in and steal our defensive plans. And Naruto incidentally found and retrieved them for our village. Please report that. The female nodded and took the kunai before vanishing again. All three kids sat there with wide eyes. You mean we kinda saved the village just now? Naruto was struck by this information. That's so awesome. He just started to get excited before getting a hit on the head by Iruka. You mean you nearly lost your life together with two of your classmates, in addition to the fact that the enemy would have gotten the informations about our defenses if it weren't for one lucky event that you were able to contact Kakashi over there and that he saved you at the very last second. That's nothing you should be proud about. Iruka scolded him. Well, actually might it be even worse than that, Iruka. The enemy shinobis had a bingo book with them and it was opened on the running bounty Kumo has set. Kakashi smiled while speaking, knowing that these kids won't understand what he is talking about. You mean? Iruka looked at the girls and frowned. Yes, that might be worse than being killed. We should be happy that everything went just fine out there. Okay kids, once you are fixed up, are you free to walk home? Class is finished for today anyway. But tomorrow you'll receive your punishment for skipping class. All three looked at each other before nodding slowly. It was again Naruto who spoke up. What about the boy gang? They tried to get me killed out there, and honestly, did they do a far better job than the whole village so far? He frowned and got upset, thinking about the whole situation. Don't worry, Naruto. They will be addressed as well tomorrow and they will get some punishment as well. Iruka reassured his student, ruffling his hair. These boys are the same that bullied me back then. Hinata said quietly, looking towards Naruto, who fully understood. These are the boys. Seriously. Naruto entered a rage, now that Hinata confirmed what he thought right away this morning. They are so going to be the next victims of me. First picking on Hinata, now trying to get me killed. Payback, believe it, he shouted, ignoring the looks of Iruka and Kakashi. Hanabi grinned at that declaration. Sounds good to me, count us in. Hey, spooky white hair guy, you got 2 earpieces left from yesterday, right? Mind giving us one of them? She smiled innocently at Kakashi, who tried to hide his face just now. Spooky white hair guy, how did that name came around, Kakashi? Iruka asked, interested. Don't ask. I'm not entirely sure myself. Kakashi's sweat dropped. Well, I'm gone now. Think we have everything settled, right? Kakashi turned to leave, giving them all a wave. Before he was out of the door completely did he toss an earpiece over to Hanabi, who catched it grinning. Iruka shook his head and left as well, leaving the 3 children alone. Hanabi handed one earpiece back to Naruto and gave the other one to Hinata. Once she got hers from home, would they be set? They discussed some ways to critically prank these boys tomorrow for what they have done to them and went home once they decided. Hyuga compound. Hinata entered her room and sighed. This was a day she wouldn't forget for a long time. She was out on an adventure with her crush, got nearly killed, scolded by her teacher and planned a prank she would participate in for the next day. That was more things on one day than she did in her whole life so far. At least did it felt like that to her. She went over to the place she was hiding her secrets and treasures, pulling out a small box from behind her desk. Sitting down at the desk and placing the box atop it, did she pull out the thing she snatched on the battlefield before they had to run back to the village. I knew you picked something up, I just wasn't sure what exactly, sis. Hinata was shocked hearing her sister's voice and didn't move. She didn't notice her entry, which is frustrating enough. But she also got caught with her secret box, meaning her sister would now learn the last things about her she didn't knew yet. Not that there would be much left to learn anyway, but still. Hanabi moved over to Hinata, sitting down next to her on a second chair. So that's your secret box, huh? Wonder what you have inside it. Hanabi smiled at her sister, who was breathing deeply. Now show me what you picked up, sis. I'm interested. It's just a small souvenir. I thought I would start getting a souvenir from each adventure I'm going on. And that was one for sure, she said quietly, showing the item she picked up to her sister. She hadn't really looked at it herself yet, she just picked it up quickly the moment she saw it in the corner of her eye, cause it kinda looked out of place or at least not like normal ninja gear. Hanabi raised an eyebrow at the object and Hinata blushed slightly, now seeing it clearly for the first time. Sis. Do you know what this is? I have a good idea about it. But I would like to know if you have one too. Hanabi looked at her blushing sister who nodded slowly. It does look like a collar. Slightly damaged because of the battle, but clearly a collar. I wonder who was wearing it. Ninja dogs aren't wearing ones, right? And I didn't hear that there were some involved at all. Hinata thought about it. Hanabi grinned slightly. It's not just animals wearing collars, you know, sis. I wonder if the enemy shinobis had a slave with them. Too bad the name tag isn't readable anymore. Hanabi pouted slightly. Well, doesn't matter, right? Common, put your souvenir away and show me your little secrets. Show me, show me, show me. She giggled, bouncing slightly up and down atop the chair. Hinata sighed and opened her box, showing her sister the contents of it. There wasn't much inside and most of the things weren't that much surprising. Some pictures of Naruto, wherever she got them in the first place. A letter written by Hinata and addressed to Naruto was there as well. You still haven't told him, sis. You know that would be a great step back from your shyness, right? I know, but I just can't do it. Not yet. Hinata sighed. Plus, am I even allowed to have feelings for someone? She looked at Hanabi with worried eyes who looked back in surprise, before realizing what her sister was getting at. Of course you are, dummy. I can't forbid you to have feelings. And I wouldn't want to do it even if I could. You are my sis and you deserve a love. Hanabi smiled at her big sister, who smiled relieved back at her. Thank you, Hanabi. But I still can't. Not yet. Hanabi sighed at these words but simply nodded them away. Say, sis, why is the book Naruto gave to you 2 years ago in your box? Hanabi tilted her head slightly, watching her sister. I know you got it from him and all, but it's just a book about raising pets, right? I mean, that's the title anyway, Raising Pets. Why did you put it in your secret box? Hanabi tried to take the book but Hinata pulled the box away from her. No. You can't read it. Her eyes showed her panic and Hanabi was completely confused by this. Why not, sis? It's not like I would use that knowledge to be cruel to pets or something. Hanabi pouted at her sister. Please. You just can't, okay. Hinata placed the damaged collar atop the book and closed the box, getting the contents out of sight. Geez, okay. No reason to get this upset, you know. Hanabi shrugged it off and smiled slightly. Ready for tomorrow? She changed topic and grinned. I think I am. I hope it will work. Hinata put her fingers together, becoming nervous, thinking about the prank the next day. Everything will be fine. We have the prankster king on our side. Hanabi smiled and hugged her sister. Get some rest. See you tomorrow, sis. Okay, I will. Good night, Hanabi. Hinata returned the hug and smiled slightly. Both of them finished this day with a smile, knowing that the next day would be a fun one, if they managed to pull the prank on their class's boy gang. A well-deserved, sweet revenge for everything they did. Hokage office at night. The Hokage was still at his office, working late. He was an old man, far beyond the best years. But as leader of this village was it his duty to protect it and to deal with any affair that might interfere with the village politics. That's also the reason why he still was in his office in the first place. He wasn't alone. Together with him were one of his best jonin, the white-haired Kakashi Hatake, his most trusted Anbu, the purple-haired female known as Kat, as well as the head of the Hyuga clan, Hiashi Hyuga. Do you understand the situation we just told you about? The Hokage asked the Hyuga clan head, who looked slightly concerned. Well, I do understand a few things, but, basically there are three main things on my mind right now. First is the knowledge that both my girls are friends with the Uzumaki brat. Something I wasn't aware of, to be honest. I'm not sure if this is a good or a bad thing, but it would be bad to forbid the contact at all. Let's just hope that the demon won't take any influence on them. All inside the room nodded at these words. The chances right now were little, but not at zero. There is always a risk if dealing with demons. The second thing is that my girls were nearly killed today. Or even worse, close to being kidnapped and sold to Kumo. Something I would like to kill the Uzumaki brat for, endangering my daughters like that. But it isn't really his fault, I know that much, and the third is the information that some enemy shinobi managed to actually sneak into our village, steal data on our defenses and somehow managed to get this information out of our walls. It was mere luck that they found the kunai today, after our patrol had the battle the day before. I do appreciate their rescue, Kakashi. I do owe you a favor now. The clan head finished his sum up of the situation. Oh, I might get back to that, Hiashi. Probably in 3 years, when your girls manage to become genin. We will see. Kakashi smiled with his one visible eye. Cat, did your team finish the cleanup of the enemy shinobis already? We don't need corpses lying around in the surrounding forests. The Hokage addressed the purple-haired Anbu. Of course, Hokage-sama. My team brought the corpses away and double-checked both battlefields that there won't be any more valuable or important things that were overseen the day before. We haven't found anything more, so we should be safe now. However, there is one thing I'm personally worried about. Her voice got quiet. While her face was hidden by the mask, some could guess that she must have a worried look right now. Oh, and what might that be? The Hokage raised an eyebrow at his subordinate. It seems like the enemy is using slaves in their ranks. One of the enemy shinobi was wearing a collar. But we couldn't find any indication from which country or village these were from at all. That is, Cat sighed. Disturbing information indeed. Kakashi finished for her. I never heard of a force using slaves. If they are trained as shinobi, who knows what might happen? And no indication on where they are from. Even missing ninja do still wear the emblem of their origin. Let's hope that this was just random and won't bother us at all in the future. I'll order some of my people to support the lookouts for the next few weeks. We should play it safe, and our Byakugan will be a big help to detect approaching threats for our village. Hiashi said, getting a thankful smile from the Hokage. Okay. Thank you, Hiashi. One last thing before you are all dismissed. I want to reward the 3 children for returning critical information to the village. Hiashi, please hand these payings to both your dogthers and give them the third for Naruto. Each of them is getting a pay for AC rank mission, and I'll add one to their records as well. They couldn't fight back, I know, but it was definitely AC rank if we had sent a team. You can leave now. The Hokage dismissed them and sat back in his chair. Can't I at least get one day without any emergency? All I want is some time to relax. He sighed and pulled out his pipe, inhaling one long breath of it and exhaling the smoke. Just one day of quiet and peace. Hinata felt quite uncomfortable. 2 days ago was her first day at the academy and she was wearing her big brown jacket to hide her body. 1 day ago was she out without her jacket and felt embarrassed by that. But today, she totally wanted to hide herself in her room and never come back out again. Why do I have to wear these kind of things, Hanabi? Hinata asked quietly, watching herself in her mirror. She was wearing a tight black shirt that showed her for this age well-developed upper body and a long purplish skirt that at least reached down to her ankles, but would reveal some skin from time to time, depending on her movements. Not to mention the worst-case scenario a skirt can produce. Why? Because we want to get the boys back for what they did to you and Naruto, remember? And this outfit is part of our plan, on which you agreed, sis. Besides, I think you look good with these clothes. Hanabi smiled at her sister, herself wearing an everyday outfit with simple pants and a t-shirt. She couldn't help but being amused by her sister's reaction to her outfit. But, it's so embarrassing. Hinata complained. What if they will see? I couldn't stand that, she mumbled to herself, putting a grin on Hanabi's face. Yeah, sure. But you wouldn't mind if it was Naruto getting a peek at your underwear, right sis? Her grin got even wider while her sister's face turned crimson red. No. Hinata shook her head before letting it hang in defeat. There was no way she could win this argument with Hanabi, and she knew that. Her feelings toward Naruto were absolutely clear and she would basically do everything for him, if she had the courage to tell him about her feelings at all. And it wasn't really helping her, that Hanabi liked to tease her about it. Maybe we should ask him to join us the next time when we are going to buy new one. Isn't that a great idea? Hanabi was hardly able to hold her laughter inside when Hinata first turned even redder before paling white at the thought of buying underwear together with a boy, even if it would be Naruto. Enough! Hinata suddenly shouted out, surprising her sister with this outburst. Will you please stop with this teasing and joking? I know well enough that it's no good if I'm not telling him of my feelings, okay? But it's no good either if you are constantly bring this topic up combined with all your teasing. How shall I ever get a step forward if you are holding me back? She was looking at her younger sister angrily, her breath at high speed because of this outburst of rage. Sis. You. Hanabi was still shocked by what just happened. That's the first time you talked back to me. I think you are improving pretty well. She smiled a little. I'll stop teasing you if you remember what you just did, okay? That was a huge step away from your shyness, you know. The grin got back to Hanabi's face. Hinata blinked her eyes a few times, before calming down. You are right. I defended myself. Was that the reason why you were teasing me all the time? She might have just learned something about her little sister. She is trying to help in her own ways, even if it isn't clear to someone. We should go and get breakfast, sis. Common. Hanabi avoided the question and turned to leave her sister's room. After all, we have some things to do before going to the academy today. We don't want to lose too much time here, right? Once in the kitchen did the next surprising thing happen. Something both girls never expected to see. Their father was in the kitchen when they entered, and the first thing they realized was that his jaw was opened and his eyes focused on Hinata in shock. It took them a whole minute to somehow get him out of this state and to get his attention. Hinata, that's the first time I'm seeing you dressed like that. That's unexpected, but I think it suits you. Hiyashi said, still looking at his older daughter in slight shock. Hanabi couldn't help but to giggle, while Hinata bashfully smiled at her father. It's just because of a situation. Yes, a situation. Hinata nodded to herself. Don't get used to it, father. Her face turned slightly red again, and she was sure that she would be blushing even more this day. After both girls sat down to get some breakfast, did their father speak up again. Okay, I see. Anyway, I heard what you two did yesterday. Both girls looked at their father in slight fear, not knowing what would happen next. Was he upset that they went into the forest? That they nearly got killed? Or would he be impressed that they brought back critical information that was stolen by enemy shinobi? And I got told by Hokage-sama to hand you these paychecks. He said he will add a C rank mission to your records for that and is even paying you for one as well. He hid his own feelings about this matter like a professional and handed the paychecks to his daughters, who simply watched dumbstruck back at him. A C rank mission. But I thought missions won't be given out before someone became genin. Hanabi asked, confused, expecting everything from her father but not this. Not that I want to complain though. She took her paycheck and checked the amount, getting wide eyes. Hokage-sama explained it as if he would have sent a team to retrieve the information you brought back. Would it have been a C rank mission? And while you weren't able to fight back against the shinobi, did you at least show that you were having a plan, by scanning the surroundings, getting away from the danger and contacting someone for help? You had a tactic and it mostly worked. That impressed Hokage-sama. Hiyashi explained, watching the expressions of his daughters, which varied from surprise to pride and fear. It was Hanabi who made the plan, father. Hinata said, also taking her paycheck and putting it away without checking the amount. She could do that later. I thought as much. Hiyashi sighed. It always seemed like she was more talented than you, Hinata. One of the reasons why she also entered academy this year. But from what I was told, did you work good as a team, and that is something I'm accepting. And I would be really surprised if the Uzumaki brat would have come up with such a plan. The expressions of both girls changed slightly, showing that they aren't too happy how her father named Naruto just now. Speaking of, Hokage-sama want you to give him that. He is getting a C rank paycheck for yesterday as well. He handed the third paycheck to Hanabi, who took it away. You have no reason to call Naruto-kun by such a name, father. As far as I know, hasn't he pranked the Hyuga at all, and it isn't his fault that the village is hating him. Also, he's our friend, and as such should our father also recognize him. Hanabi was watching her father with slight anger in her expression while Hinata nodded on that statement. She just wouldn't voice her opinion against her father, but she stood behind Hanabi's statement. Hiyashi sighed again and nodded slowly. I apologize. Yes, I heard that he is your friend last night as well. He was just a brat in my eyes and still is. Please don't expect me to change my view on him overnight. Realizing that his daughters weren't satisfied with his explanation yet, did he continue. Okay. I'm not having any grudge against him. And I agree that his treatment by the villagers is plain wrong. But I can't do anything against that. You might be able to understand that once you're older. Still getting angry looks from his daughters was Hiyuki chagging topic and getting up from the table. See, I got an important meeting I need to attend. Have a pleasant day at school. And with that was Hiyashi gone, leaving his daughters alone in the kitchen. You think we should tell Naruto what father just told us? Hanabi asked. I'm not sure, it wasn't much information at all. But we can tell him the thing about yesterday and give him his paycheck. Hinata smiled at Hanabi, who nodded, before both finished their breakfast and left home. After all, did they have a plan to work through before going to the academy this day? An alley in Konoha. Naruto was waiting for the girls for some minutes now and he got restless. They had a small time window to pull off the plan and the girls were late already. He was thinking about contacting them via the radio earpieces, when they finally showed up. They decided to leave the communication to a minimum, cause they were expecting the white-haired Jonin, Kakashi if they remembered correctly, to listen to them. After all, was he having the fourth earpiece and he knew they were planning something. That, and he showed interest in Naruto at all. What took you so long? You are late and we are nearly out of time for the preparations. He looked at the approaching girls and went silent when he saw the outfit Hinata was dressed with. Wow. Hinata-chan, you look beautiful. She blushed and put her fingers together. Thank you, Naruto-kun. Hinata wasn't sure how to react or what to say. But that Naruto liked her look would help her to get through the day wearing this outfit. Hanabi rolled her eyes before speaking up. We are on the clock here, remember? Oh, but before, she pulled the paycheck for Naruto out of her pocket and handed it over. This is from Hokage-sama. He's paying all of us AC rank mission for yesterday. That's yours. Hey, that's awesome. Tell me the details later, okay? Naruto grinned widely. But for now, do we have a prank to pull through? I've prepared what we need. He stepped aside to reveal a school bag that looked just like the one Hinata was using. I've put some surprises inside. If the gang will react the way we expect them to, they will soon be our victims. Hinata, you remember what you need to do. Yes, it's embarrassing, but I'll do my part. They've done enough things to us and it's time that they get something in return. Hinata still had some doubts if she could do her part, but she was determined and made up her mind to complete it. Good. And I will check the whole surroundings. Keep an eye on our targets and check for any problems. If I see something, will I contact you via radio. But only use them in emergencies. I'm sure the spooky white hair guy will be listening. I guess he won't interfere, but we should play it safe and don't give him too much to listen. Hanabi said, getting nods from the other two. Do we have any plan if this one fails? Hinata asked, not wanting to do the things she is going to do for nothing. Well, kinda. Naruto scratched the back of his head. Plan B is simply me running by them and throwing stuff at them. You know, like paint and water bombs and stuff. He shrugged. But I'm sure that it will work just fine. We talked enough. They should be on their way and we should be going as well. Hanabi said, waving goodbye for the moment and heading to her observation point, which in fact was just a bench at the side of the park where she sat down and closed her eyes. She was quite happy about the fact that she could use her Byakugan with closed eyes and with that not everybody noticing it. Okay, let's see. There is Hinata, waiting for the boys. Naruto is, over there, good. He does have a good view and a short enough distance to help Hinata if something goes wrong. But where are the boys? Are we too late? Did they go earlier today? Or are they, there they are. They are kinda late as well. Hanabi thought to herself, observing everything she need to check. Shouldn't you be on your way to the academy? A voice suddenly said beside her, startling her a little, but she quickly relaxed after checking her own location without opening her eyes at all. Well, I'm sure I will be there on time. And you? Nothing better to do than scare children, spooky white hair guy. Hanabi replied, focusing back on the target area. Her quick check of her surroundings had shown that it was Kakashi standing next to her, not really paying any attention to her and reading inside his book. Kakashi replied without stopping to read. I was just curious what you three were going to do. I figured it might be before the academy starts. But since you haven't communicated yet, well, I just wanted to see for myself. Hanabi couldn't help but smile. We figured you would be listening into our conversations, so we decided to keep it down to an absolute minimum. But if you wanted to see us in action, are you at the wrong place? I'm just observing, you know. The way she is talking to me is impressive. I'm basically a stranger to her, but it's like she figured out my intentions already. Only 7 years old but smart indeed. You got a fine daughter, Hiyashi. Kakashi thought to himself before answering. Well, I'm sure Aruka will tell me the details. And your reactions will tell me if your plan worked or not. I think I'm at the right place. I see. And it's totally random that Kat-san is observing the same area in which we are operating, right? Hanabi grinned slightly. The Anbu was good at hiding, but her eyes still managed to find her pretty quickly. Huh, Kat-san, I don't know what you are talking about. Kakashi answered without emotions, wondering how good Hanabi really is. After he and Kat left the office of the Hokage last night, did he ask her to have an eye on Naruto and the girls this day, because of the things that happened and the payback they wanted to deliver? Right. You sure don't. Hanabi was still grinning with her eyes closed, before activating the earpiece. They are coming your way, just as planned. Go get them, sis. And as expected, do we have an audience? Put on a good show, will ya? She could hear a frown from Naruto's response and saw that her sister was slightly nodding since she knew that Hanabi would see that. Hinata was waiting behind a corner at the street the three boys were walking it toward the academy. I really hope I can do that. It's embarrassing, but I won't let Naruto-kun and Hanabi down. She activated her Byakugan for a short time to see the distance between her and the boys, before finally deciding to take action. The boys were close to the corner when Hinata came running around it. She turned in the same direction the boys headed, giving the image that she was on her way to the academy as well, but in a hurry. But all she managed to do was 2 steps forward, before tripping over her own feet and falling forward onto the ground. Please let them not have seen anything, she thought to herself and slightly blushed, trying to get herself back up from the ground. The leader of the gang was already at her side, kneeling next to her and pushing Hinata back down to the ground with his hand on her back. Well, what do we have here? If it isn't the shy Hyuga. Reminds me so much on 4 years ago. Too bad we were interrupted back then. He brought his face close to her ear before whispering. Oh, cute underwear, by the way. It was nice of you to show us. He grinned and his 2 friends laughed at this comment. They really saw it. It's so embarrassing. Hinata thought to herself and her blush increased to crimson red. She tried to struggle free but was firmly held in place. Too bad there are so many people around us. Well, guess it's time for us to go. See you at class. The leader grinned and got down from Hinata, catching her school bag while getting up and left with his friends. Once they were out of sight was Naruto at Hinata's side helping her up. You okay, Hinata-chan? They haven't done anything to you, right? He asked concerned, seeing her crimson face. She slowly shook her head and hugged Naruto. I'm fine. It's just. They saw. She whispered, not realizing that she actually hugged Naruto. While she wasn't fainting for months now in his presence and her stutter was only there if she felt strong emotions were body contact, something she still had problems with when it came to Naruto. But in this situation was she fine however? Saw what? Naruto asked, not really knowing what Hinata meant. Well, doesn't matter I guess. We should be going to the academy now. Don't want to be late, right? He let go of Hinata who nodded at him, both walking towards the academy. 5 minutes later did the radio activate again and Hanabi was talking, mission complete. Can't wait to see the results. See ya at class. Both Hinata and Naruto were smiling. They couldn't wait to see the results as well. You happy now, spooky white hair guy? Well, I'm off toward the academy, if you'll excuse me. Hanabi was opening her eyes and getting up from the bench, noticing that Kakashi wasn't there anymore. Did he leave while I was deactivating my Byakugan? What a strange fellow. Well, anyway, I should get going. Kakashi sat atop a roof together with Kat, watching Hanabi go. These kids are impressive. That's for lending me a hand today, Kat. She did see you, by the way. Kakashi handed her a bottle of sake for sacrificing some of her time. I thought as much. Anyway, I've gotta go, Kakashi. Till next time. She gave him a wave and was gone while Kakashi continued reading his book, like nothing happened at all. At the academy, Ino was talking to Sakura this morning. The topics were the same as always, meaning Sasuke on Sakura's side and the Hyuga sisters and Naruto on Ino's side. I tell you, Sasuke is cooler, stronger and better in any way than Naruto. He's the best in our class and will become the greatest shinobi ever. Sakura proudly exclaimed. She had totally fallen for the black-haired boy who always kept to himself. Yeah, and he isn't interested in you or any other girl, if you might have noticed. Naruto is kind and lively and he cares for his friends. Also, Ino stopped mid-sentence and fell silent, her jaw dropped. Huh, Ino pig. You still with me? Sakura asked, waving her hand in front of Ino's eyes. Ino still didn't answer and simply pointed toward the door to the classroom and Sakura looked in this direction, her jaw dropping as well. Basically the whole class went silent and looked towards the door, where Hinata and Naruto just entered. There were a few things differently compared to what they would expect. The first thing was that Hinata was entering with Naruto and not her sister. Academy just started 2 days ago, but Hinata was always seen with her sister outside, so that's the thing the other students would expect. The second thing was the fact that Naruto was totally calm. No grin on his face, no loud speaking, even his energetic aura that usually seems to surround him was missing. Some students inside the classroom got a shiver down their spine by that realization, cause this can't be anything good at all. The one thing however that shocked the whole class was the outfit Hinata was wearing. Even the children who knew her for a bit longer by now never saw her wearing something like that. She usually wore a big jacket to hide her body paired with a sort of baggy pants to keep everything kinda hidden. The tight black shirt and long purplish skirt were totally out of place with Hinata. Though the boys in the class had to admit that the look was nice and the girls kinda got jealous of her well-developed body for her age. Hinata blushed at the attention but got quickly distracted by Naruto, who gave her a reassuring smile and led her to her desk. Once Hinata sat down was the class slowly awakening from their shock and continued their conversations. Ino quickly got over and sat down on her place, starting a conversation with Hinata. Hinata-chan, you look beautiful. Why have I never seen you wearing something like that? Oh, let me guess, you and Naruto are having a date after class, right? Ino wasn't known as gossip queen for nothing and started asking several things at once. Don't ask for everything at once. You'll confuse me. Hinata answered, trying to get some distance between herself and Ino. And I can't answer your questions. We agreed to not tell anyone before a certain event happens. She smiled slightly at Ino, who gave her a confused look. What kind of event shall happen? I don't get it. Are you having a secret together with Naruto? Common Hinata-chan, tell me. We are friends, right? Ino got desperate. She so wanted to know. That would make good gossip for sure. Stop bothering my sister, Ino. She won't tell you. But if you need to know, the event will happen in a few minutes, that I'm sure of. Ino looked up to see a grinning Hanabi who just arrived, being even more confused now. Hanabi sat down on her place, still grinning. Just wait some minutes and keep your eyes on the door. You don't want to miss that, I'm sure. And knowing you, she couldn't finish her sentence because the door opened and Ino couldn't help but to shout out in shock. Forehead. Since when do you have siblings? The whole class turned their heads towards Ino, who was loud enough to be heard outside the building. What are you talking about, Ino pig? I don't have siblings at all. Her voice went off track when she realized what Ino was referring to. Her eyes were fixed on the three figures that had just entered the classroom. By the stature of them were it three boys. By their looks, however, was it hard to tell. All three of them were covered from head to toe in pink paint and they had very pissed looks on their faces. The whole classroom was silent, looking at the three pink-colored boys. It took a few moments before the first one started laughing loudly. It was Kiba. Oh my god, that's hilarious. Hey, Naruto, that's your doing, right? Kiba was holding his stomach because of all his laughing. He didn't like this boy gang much and this sight was just something. I don't know what you are talking about, Kiba. Naruto answered calm and innocent, not even flinching. Suddenly some of his classmates understood why he was so calm this morning. They simply put one and one together. Naruto was absent the day before, on which they received the information that he was in danger. Today was he attending class like nothing happened before the boy gang appeared colored pink completely. So the boys sent Naruto to wherever he was yesterday and got payback for that. That's all your fault. The leader of the gang approached Hinata angrily, ready to strike her. You tricked us and you'll pay for that. Kiba looked confused between Naruto and Hinata, just like Ino did. She thought as well that must have been Naruto's work. Hinata was way too shy to pull something like that, or even any prank at all. Hinata flinched and tried to cover herself for the upcoming punch, but it never connected. Hanabi jumped up in order to block the punch for her sister and catch the wrist of the boy. What? You think that my shy sister is responsible for your situation? Do you know how long I needed to talk her into wearing this outfit? She is way too kind for this world and won't harm anyone. Besides, do you think it was correct to threaten her after she tripped and fell to the ground? You even stole her school bag. Honestly, you deserve the way you look right now. Hanabi was shouting angrily at the boy, who in return entered a rage, trying now to hit her instead of Hinata. Oh, I get it now. It was you who pulled this prank on us. In that case, will I teach you a lesson to not mess with us. He tried to punch her with his other fist but got blocked by her again. She was now holding both his wrists. A lesson to not mess with you. I could say the same. It were you who tried sending Naruto to his death, and if it weren't for us would he be surely dead. Hell, we all nearly died, you know. Hanabi was entering a rage not even Hinata knew she could reach. The class was silent, listening to the exchange. Did some classmates nearly died because of other classmates of them? Do you know how painful a fire-style jutsu can be? The doctor said my arm will be scarred forever from that attack. Ino, sitting closest to Hanabi, just now realized by her words that there was indeed a scar across her right arm, where the fire-style jutsu hit her the day before. She started shivering and held back her tears. Sure, she got the same information as everyone else yesterday about the dangerous situation her friends were in, but seeing this scar now hit her hard. She could have lost her closest friends. I should hurt you the same as I had to suffer because of you. Hanabi still shouted at the boy leader, activating her Byakugan in order to see where to hit him to inflict maximum pain. However, she wasn't able to finish her attack, cause now it was her turn to be blocked. While the whole class watched the scene with worry, did their teacher Aruka arrive and seeing what was happening decided to interfere. That's enough. Both of you. Calm down and take your seats. Now. He shouted angrily, and all hostilities died down right away. They just learned that their teacher could be really scary, if he wanted to. After all of them took their seats, some of them still angry at each other and 3 of them still covered in pink paint, did Iruka speak up. Listen up. I got all informations regarding the events yesterday and also what happened this morning. There will be consequences for all who are involved. Ino and Hinata comforted Hanabi, who still was enraged, trying to breathe deeply. Some of their classmates were interested in the details of the events and hoped that Iruka would tell some of them. They knew the rumors about Naruto and how the village was treating him, but most didn't know how much of that were true. But after what happened the day before, they started thinking on their own. Academy just started and Naruto was in their class. They couldn't help but to build their own opinions about him and his actions now. First of all, Naruto, Hanabi, Hinata, you 3 will appear at detention for a whole week for skipping class yesterday. I am aware of the circumstances, but you still skipped class and I won't want that to happen again. Iruka started with addressing the easy part of his punishments. Hinata simply nodded, accepting this without complaining. She still was too shy to talk back at her teacher at all. Naruto frowned, mumbling something that sounded like, I knew that would happen, but kept quiet beside of that. Hanabi, however, still in rage, spoke up. That's not fair, sensei. They were the reason that we weren't here and we nearly died. She stood up, putting her hands on her table for support, glaring at Iruka. While your argument is legit and these boys baited Naruto to the battlefield, did all 3 of you still skip class? You could have decided to go there once academy was over. Iruka calmly explained, waiting for Hanabi's reaction to this information. She wanted to reply something before paling, realizing that Iruka was right. She quietly sat down again, letting her head hang. Now that this matter is dealt with, do I want to congratulate you 3 on completing your first C-rank mission. You are the first to ever complete a mission while still in academy, and then a C rank nonetheless. I'm very impressed. What? Kiba shouted out loud, pointing at Naruto. You mean this idiot got a C rank record for skipping class? No way. That's not fair at all. He was totally upset by that information and several other students stated a similar opinion. Troublesome. It was Shikamaru. Now will we be compared to them the whole time in the academy? What a drag. Ino heard his statement and chuckled to herself. Now that was interesting gossip to spread. If you would all please calm down. I'll tell you why this was decided by Hokage-sama. The first reason is that they worked well together as a team and confronted enemy shinobi. They didn't went there blindly but kept an eye on their surroundings the whole time, spotted the enemy and managed to confuse them to get away. While they were hunted, did they still manage to inform a Jonin of the situation? We could clear the area of all threats. The class listened carefully, some with awe, some with disinterest, some in rage. That's bullshit. They are just academy students who simply fled. It was the leader of the gang who got evil glares for that statement, shrinking down in his seat. I'll attend to your punishment soon, so please just wait. Iruka said before sighing. Where did I got interrupted? Right. The second reason is that they retrieved 2 sets of critical information for our village. If it weren't for them, would we be facing a massive threat now and an unknown enemy, which we are at least aware of now because of them? 2 sets of critical informations. Hanabi raised her voice. But we only brought back the kunai with the information attached. There wasn't any more. She clearly was confused and both Naruto and Hinata nodded to that. I assume they learned something about the shinobi you were facing after examining their bodies, am I right? A boy with short black hair, black glasses and a trenchcoat spoke. He usually was one of the quieter boys in class, only speaking if necessary but then talking his thoughts right away. A good observer and able to build pretty accurate conclusions. Yes, you are right, Shino. While the details are classified as this what happened. Hokage-sama is thankful for all these informations and their deeds to the village, and that's why he decided to give these academy students the C rank record already. Iruka smiled. He had indeed an interesting class this time. So many promising children with so many different abilities. It might become the best generation of shinobi the village ever had. Iruka laid his eyes on the three pink-colored boys who shrunk in their seats, fearing what might come now. Now for you three. I am allowed to speak any kind of punishment that I see fit for what happened. And I already decided on it as well. He spoke firmly and the three boys shivered by his calmness. You will be banned from academy for the whole years. You have proven that you are mentally not ready to become ninja by willingly sending a comrade to his death. Now pick up your stuff and get out of my classroom at once. The whole class was shocked. The kindness of their teacher disappeared completely and he was dead serious right now. They learned a valuable lesson this day. Even the kindest person can reach a point at which you don't want to be around them anymore cause they will have had enough. They saw it just minutes ago when the usually happy Hanabi got enraged, and they saw it again just now, when the kind Iruka turned deadly serious, releasing an aura that promised nothing good at all. While the three boys were leaving the classroom, did Iruka address them one last time. I wouldn't bother to wash the paint of. It's a pretty resistant one. He smiled at his class as soon as the door was closed again, returning to his kind self. Naruto, nice work with the paint bomb inside the bag. It seems you are talented with traps. We will try to improve that during the next 3 years. Naruto's jaw dropped and he watched his teacher in disbelief. How can you know that I created it? Kiba and Ino grinned. They knew it must have been Naruto. I think I already said that I'm fully informed about the events that took place. Plus you used this kind of paint in previous pranks already. Oh, I nearly forgot. Hanabi, I shall give you regards from Kat. She said she was impressed that you found her. Hanabi smiled slightly and nodded. So, now to start class. Today I want to talk about chakra. What is it? How does it work? Why do we need it? Half of the class frowned cause they learned these things already from their families. The other half listened interesting to what their teacher had to say. Two sisters weren't listening and thought about their future together and the situation they were in, while one blonde-haired boy completely paid attention to his new teacher. There was finally someone willing to teach him something. Finally it's over. I so hate detention. Never again. Hanabi stretched herself while leaving the academy. She understood the reasons why they had to go to detention in the first place, but that doesn't mean that she liked it. I will never again do something that will give me these sessions. They are even more boring than the normal classes. I don't know, it wasn't too bad. Sure, it cut off several hours of free time, but all considered. Naruto shrugged. Could have been worse. Remember, the boy gang got banned for 3 years. Sure, they deserved it. But what is 1 week of detention compared to that? Yeah, I know. I still don't like it. Okay. Anyway, now that we are done with it, what are we going to do? We have 2 free days as well now. Any plans? Hanabi asked while looking at Naruto, who started thinking. How about we go celebrate the successful mission? Hinata asked, looking at both of them. We hadn't time for that because of the detention, so why don't we go now? Sounds like a good idea to me. I haven't spent any of the money at all yet, so what do you say we go eat something to celebrate? My treat. Naruto smiled brightly at both girls. And after that we could hang out in my apartment, relaxing for the rest of the day and making plans for the free days. What do you say? Hinata looked at Hanabi with a questioning expression, who in return smiled at her sister. Yeah, that's a good plan. We accept your invitation. Hanabi answered for both of them. Though, have you found a place yet that is willing to serve you food? I guess it would be easier if we would go to buy some groceries and make something ourselves. Hanabi pondered to herself. It became routine that the girls would go and buy stuff for Naruto the last 2 years caused due to the way he is treated inside the village. Couldn't he get anything by himself? They also tried to eat at different places, but each time were the reactions the same. They declined to serve Naruto and insulted even the girls for being with him. Naruto grinned at Hanabi and nodded. Yeah, I found a place. They are pretty cheap and serve the best ramen I ever ate. His expression kinda changed into a dreamy one, remembering the tasty food. For some reason felt both girls uneasy right now. Yeah, sure. I guess you would say that about everything if they would serve something different, simply because it's the first location to serve you something. And what was that about cheap? You want to treat us to cheap food? Hanabi had an evil smirk on her face and Naruto's sweat dropped at that, while Hinata simply sighed. Hanabi. Hinata quietly said. You are mean to Naruto-kun again. Both Naruto and Hanabi couldn't help but laughing at that. That was something that became pretty much normal between them. Hanabi commenting about Naruto and the things he said or did in a bad way and Hinata telling her to stop that. It was kinda a game to them. On one side did they enjoyed Hinata's reaction, on the other side was this one way to help her further away from her shyness. Common sis. Hanabi pouted playfully. I was only teasing him. Well, partially. She giggled. The part about the cheap food was serious. Naruto looked at her a bit surprised before Hanabi stuck her tongue out in Naruto's direction, resulting in a frown of him. You know, your sarcastic humor is really something. I can't tell if you are serious or not at all. Naruto stated smiling. Anyway, we should get going. Don't want you to starve out here. He grinned, hearing a stomach grumbling. If Hinata's blush was any indication was it hers, but he didn't commented on that. Getting a nod from Hanabi did he lead the way to the location he told them about. They were chatting about random topics on their way, when they suddenly heard someone shouting. Hey, wait up you three. It was Ino's voice, so they stopped and turned around, waiting for the girl. They could see her running in their direction, stopping in front of them while panting hard. Finally, catched you, she said between deep breaths. I wanted to pick you up after detention but you were gone already. She had a slightly worrying tone in her voice while still trying to catch her breath. What's the matter, Ino? Hanabi asked slightly worried. Did something happen? I never saw you that irritated before. Ino nodded at that, still trying to get air back into her lung. She so needed to train a bit on her stamina was her thought while recovering. We were just going to get something to eat. Why don't you come along and tell us what happened? Naruto suggested. Both Hanabi and Hinata smiled at that. They wouldn't mind having Ino's company as well. Ino, finally having enough air, answered. Sure, guess that will work. Where are we going? She knew as good as everybody that Naruto wasn't served anywhere, so she wondered about that. Naruto just smiled back at her. You will see. I recently stumbled upon that place. The food is good and cheap and they do serve me, believe it. He somehow got overexcited to show the girls that place. Hinata got a bit closer to Ino, whispering into her ear. He hasn't told us either. He's making a big secret of that. But we will see soon, I guess. She smiled slightly and Ino nodded, following the group toward whichever place Naruto had in mind. That's it. It looks, well, Hanabi pondered, checking out the object in front of them. It was basically just a small stall on the street. There were a few seats in front of a counter but the interior was partially covered by some curtains. She had to admit that it smelled quite good from inside, but the looks were pretty plain. Remember Hanabi? He said it were cheap, so. Hinata added her thoughts as well, getting a nod from Hanabi. Well, he did. Guess the rent for that stall isn't too high so they can afford cheap prices. Both of them were a bit skeptical about it, but they trusted Naruto. If he said it would be good. Hey, don't talk like I wouldn't be here. Naruto was slightly upset that the girls seemed to ignore him. Besides, don't judge it before trying the food. And I'm inviting you, so please stop complaining. Hanabi giggled. It was so easy to tease Naruto. Okay, point taken. Well, let's go inside then. I'm hungry, she exclaimed, following Naruto together with the other girls. Once past the curtain did they realize that the inside wasn't that much better. It was all pretty simple decorated, but the smell was really good indeed. Hey Tsuki, I'm here again. Naruto happily shouted, gaining the attention of a slightly older man behind the counter. He was wearing a simple chef outfit and seemed to be the only person inside the stall. There were no customers right now and on the other side of the counter was he alone. Once seeing Naruto did he smile at him. Oh, hello again Naruto. I see you really can't get enough of my ramen, And you brought friends this time as well. Mind to introduce me? Tsuki watched while all four of them took their seats, smiling honestly at all of them. Sure thing. That's Hanabi-chan, Hinata-chan and Ino-chan. They are all my classmates but we are friends for a bit longer now. He pointed from girl to girl while talking. Can we please get 4 bowls of miso ramen? I told them that your ramen is the best and invited them to taste it. He smiled happily at Tsuki who nodded and went right at work, preparing their meals. So, Ino, what was it you wanted to talk about? Since we have to wait a little for our meals, can you explain it now, right? Hanabi said, looking towards Ino who nodded. Well, okay. You see, during the last week, while you had your detention, did I hear some new rumors? I'm pretty sure that they are just that, but, well. Ino struggled a bit to find the best words, which surprised everyone. She never had problems talking. These rumors maybe are about you too, Hanabi, Hinata. Naruto was raising an eyebrow at that and was simply listening, interested what Ino had to say. Hinata looked totally confused, thinking what kind of rumors these might be. She wasn't sure if she could handle being talked about behind her back. It was Hanabi who spoke. About us? What kind of rumors? Don't tell me it's something about the mission record we got. It's not like we had any influence, it was plain random luck. Ino shook her head and continued. No, it's not about that. I mean, okay, sure, there is one rumor as well, but that can be ignored if you ask me. There will always be someone marked as the teacher's favorite, so everything fine with that. She smiled slightly while Hanabi frowned. It's way more extreme. I guess. I'm not sure who came up with it either, but it's spreading fast inside the academy. Ino, stop talking around and get to the point already. Hanabi said quietly, glaring at Ino who swallowed before nodding. Okay. Please promise to stay calm. They say that, because she is always following you and doing what you say, well, that Hinata would be your slave, Hanabi. Ino quietly said, I've really no idea who came up with that and it's kinda stupid. Just because Hinata is shy and all. I mean, we are trying to push her a little since 2 years, right? Hinata blushed crimson red and let her head hang while Hanabi was opening and closing her mouth, but not finding words. Naruto raised an eyebrow at that before speaking. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. And I'm the one everyone hates without reason. What's wrong with 2 sisters who get along quite well and spending time together? I'm not having siblings, but that's what I would understand as normal. I know, right? This rumor is so far away from the truth than possible. I mean, the last record of slavery in Konoha is from the time of the first Hokage. Plus, Who would get such a stupid idea as to say that two sisters would enslave each other or something? Especially considering their age. They are as old as us or even younger in Hanabi's case. Ino entered an argument with Naruto over this rumor while both sisters were still silent. That's so stupid. Even if true, who would get such an idea? I don't get it at all. It's not like I would do the things to Hinata that are all described inside the books. We are just going outside together and I'm deciding what to do. But she is shy anyway, so that's totally normal, isn't it? Hanabi thought to herself, still trying to find words to answer. Hinata's thoughts weren't as complex as Hanabi's. That's so embarrassing if everyone is talking about it. They can't know, but a rumor sticks around for a long time. She wasn't moving either, letting her blushed head still hung. Rumors are just that, rumors. Don't get yourself depressed by them. And if they worry you, well, you are still children. Just say that you are playing. Tuki said smiling, while placing one bowl of ramen in front of everyone, getting their attention. They were all so hard inside the discussion or their own thoughts, that none of them thought about the place they just were. Ah, thanks a lot, Tuki. It looks delicious as usual. Common girls, try it. It's really the best out there. Naruto stated excited, changing the topic from the rumor to the food in front of them. Ino was the first to start eating, stopping after her first taste. Not bad at all. Who would have thought that something that simple could taste that good? And is it really as cheap as Naruto said? She asked, looking at Tuki who handed her a menu. Ino had a quick look on it before raising an eyebrow. Wow, now that really is cheap. Guess I have to spread this information. Her gossip senses activated themselves by these informations. She just couldn't help her nature. While Ino was busy with the menu, did Hinata start to eat as well? She figured that there was no reason to think about that rumor, cause she wouldn't be able to do something against it anyway. So why not enjoy the meal and the company? It's delicious. Thanks for the meal, Tuki-san. And thanks for inviting us, Naruto-kun. She smiled slightly, getting smiles from both in return. Hanabi, however, was still in thoughts, holding her right forearm with her left hand, digging her fingernails into the burn scar that started slightly above her wrist and covered halfway up to her elbow on the outer side of her arm. This self-inflicted pain finally got her out of her thoughts and she started eating as well. I don't like that rumor at all, she was mumbling before having a first taste of the ramen, getting into a little better mood right away. It really is good. Sorry for teasing you about it before, Naruto. She gave him a small smile and he had a bright one for her in return. I told you, Hanabi-chan. It's your fault for not believing me. Tuki is just the best. I'm super happy that I found his ramen stand. He was grinning from ear to ear before finishing his bowl of ramen. Ah, I could eat these all day. Tuki was watching his young customers with a smile on his face. Ah, youth, so innocent and so full of feelings for each other. Nothing beats young love. He said more to himself than anybody, but they all could hear it quite well.